doctors, past, present, and future, presidents, past, present, and future, Rotarians, all are distinguished, and guests. It's my pleasure today to introduce our guest speaker, who is our president at Rotary International for the year 2013-14, Mr. Ron Burton. Dale was it?
I'll remember that.
Ron and I have some symmetries. I'm elect, he's elect, but he also worked in universities. His periphery was longer. He worked for 40 years. I only worked for 28. And I congratulate him on leading the foundation of the University of Oklahoma during that time. Ron has been a member of Rotary since 1979. He's a member of the American Bar Association, and he lives in Norman. Norman is not a town that I knew, but Oklahoma is, and is a suburb of Oklahoma. No? Yes. And this sounds like my city, Umley, which is a separately incorporated entity, but I think in reality it's a suburb of Batley. Ron was president of the Oklahoma University Foundation for many years. How many, Ron? 29 years. He professionalized the concept of philanthropy for universities and university development. Oklahoma University is now one of the top-ranked state universities in the US, and we congratulate you, Ron, in your contribution in bringing it there. He was also president of the Norman Public School Foundation, and he had many leadership roles in what we would call the Scout movement. He's been an RI director, a Rotary Foundation trustee, and he has held many other leadership positions in Rotary International. He could not have done these things without the support of his wife, Jetta. So thank you, Jetta, for your contribution. Like many of us, he has children and grandchildren. So they no doubt bring them great joy. Today he will talk to us about the strategic plan for Rotary International and the future vision plan for that organisation. We look forward to hearing that because it's very important to us as Rotary clubs in our communities, how we align our plans, our visions with that of Rotary International. So I give you Ron Dale Burton. And I should add that he will speak for 20 minutes and he will take 10 minutes of questions.
I don't guess this one works. Thank you very much, Frank. Your Excellency, Governor Scars, Mrs. Skips. All of the Rotary people that Frank mentioned, protocol observed. I'm not going to mention your names or your titles. But let me just say that I just heard what I'm going to speak to you about today. It won't take me long to talk about the strategic plan. It might take me longer to talk about future vision. But we'll get to that in a minute. We're delighted to be in Adelaide. This is our first trip to this beautiful part of Australia. This is, however, our 9th trip to Australia. And I would dare say that we've probably seen more of Australia than most Australians. I was telling the governor that we're thinking of applying for citizenship and ask him if he could run some interference for us to get our applications through a little bit quicker. But we do love Australia. If you come to the President-elect's condominium in Evanston, Illinois, where Jen and I spend a couple of nights every now and then, what you will find is Penfolds wine. Just in case you're not aware, we have the great fortune of having our convention in Sydney, Australia, on the 4th June 2014. I expect to see you there. You want me to say goodnight? Wait till you see the promotion video for Sydney, because I do say goodnight. And it's an outstanding video. You can't see it until after I announce the theme in January in San Diego. Now, some of you may remember Rotary International President Cliff Doctorman. Anyone remember Cliff? Whose theme was real happiness is helping others. He used to joke about using the theme Enjoy Rotary too, because 3 years before Cliff was president, Hugh Archer was president, and his theme was Enjoy Rotary. So after I was selected, I sent an email to past President Cliff, and I asked him if he would object if I perhaps use the theme Enjoy Rotary too. But just in case he objected, I said, you might have in the interim period on other themes that you might have used, and since you've not been president since 92, 93, perhaps you'd be willing to share those with me. So he sent me a whole list of potential themes to consider. And one of the two that I liked best was, I'm from Oklahoma. Can I hit you? Well, Jen and I are from Oklahoma, and we are here to hit you. And we're going to need your help, or your help, if you will. The other one that I liked equally was Y-R-A-T-O-R. Let's turn Rotary around. Now that one, you obviously didn't get it, because I thought it was pretty funny. But anyway, you know, you can't win them all. You know, as we think about where we are in Rotary today, I'm very excited. And it's always fun to come to a Rotary Club meeting, because whether you realize it or not, this is where Rotary lives. It doesn't live in Evanston, Illinois, on the 18th floor world headquarters. It doesn't live in Parramatta or any of the other regional offices. It lives in places like Adelaide, Australia, where every day Rotarians somewhere in the world really make a difference. And it's critical that we realize that. And I know that the clubs here do many, many things, not only locally, but internationally as well. Last month we had the honor of being at the Zone Institute in Invercargill. And on our way from Punta del Este, Uruguay to Invercargill, past President Bill Boyd suggested that we stop in Christchurch and take a look around, because we had been there in 2008 at the Institute, the Joint Institute of these zones. And we'd been down the city center, we'd been down by the cathedral. We even had tea at the coffee and the tea shop at the cathedral. So we stopped and spent a couple of days there. And they took us into the red zone down by the cathedral. And if any of you have ever been to Christchurch, you really what a beautiful city it was. And to look around at what's happened there just broke their heart. But they were talking about all of the support that they had gotten from about 10 Australian districts, probably these districts right in this area here. I know Melbourne was included. And the conversation was, you know, prior to having the earthquake, we didn't think much. I mean, we thought about the Rotary Foundation, but we didn't think that we would ever be a beneficiary. But in a matter of seconds, they ended up being in need of the Rotary Foundation. And the Rotarians of Australia stepped up, and they are very grateful for that. So it's really an interesting concept. We all like to think, certainly those of us in the United States, I think Australians are very similar in many ways. We like to think that the Rotary Foundation programs, for the most part, occur someplace else. The places we see on CNN or BBC, you know, they can't happen to us. And it's interesting because while I know that many Rotarians in different parts of the world don't care for the recognition that the Rotary Foundation provides, and that's fine. But you know, I didn't hear a single Rotarian in Christchurch ask the question, did the Rotarian who made that contribution to the foundation take no recognition? It's not about the recognition. It's about what we do with the money. And that's critically important. And as we think about where we're headed, you've heard this before. We have, I think, two really big issues to deal with. One is membership. And I might just point out that most of you probably know Rotary's history and know that Paul Harris invited 3 of his friends to have a meeting on February 23rd, 1905. But within the first year, half of those people had dropped out. 2 of the 4 dropped out. So how long have we had a membership issue? Maybe since 1906. Well, the interesting thing to me about membership is the fact that most of us don't think it's our problem. You know, Chris thinks it's Frank's problem. He didn't tell me that earlier today. And then Frank thinks it's Bob's problem. And Bob thinks it's Louise's problem. And the problem is, it ends up being nobody's problem. But you know what? It's all of our problem. And I've asked my incoming class of governors to do 2 things for me for the International Assembly coming up this January. And one is to bring in at least 1 new member prior to the Assembly. Now, I mentioned to a group this morning that Jeb is the math teacher. I'm just the accountant and lawyer. But, you know, I'm not exactly a math whiz, but if we have 1.2 million members, and we all brought in 1 member, pretty good number, isn't it? Just 1. You don't have to bring in 10 or 20. You just have to bring in 1. Is that too big? Question, is that too much work for you to do to bring in 1 member? Think about it. And think about your club. As you look at your club, would you join your club today? Would your club be better? What can you do to make it better? I'm talking to the leadership here. I'm not talking to the Rotarians of this district or of the world. I'm talking to the leadership today. asked my governors, incoming governors, to do was to make a contribution to the Rotary Foundation in their own name prior to going to the Assembly. We have 533 or so incoming governors. We have 55% as of the end of October of those governors around the world who have made a contribution to the Rotary Foundation, and the total amount that has been given to date is $277,000. Now, I don't know if that money wouldn't have come in anyway, but I doubt it. But I've asked, and we're getting ready to make sure the other 45% contribute, because I want to be able to tell them in San Diego, California, in January of 2013, that we were the first class in the history of Rotary, and 100% of us made a contribution to the Rotary Foundation. And hopefully, this was a little bit more of a challenge for the first class, that every incoming governor brought in at least one member. So I'm going to extend the governor's challenge to you today. I want you to think about our Rotary Foundation, your Rotary Foundation. And I want to ask each and every one of you to make a contribution of any amount to any fund of the Rotary Foundation this Rotary year. And I want to ask you to bring in at least one member. You can bring in 10, you can bring in 20, bring in as many as you want to, but bring in at least one. You know, it's time to start thinking a little bit out of the box, to do things a little bit differently. President Chris was telling me earlier today that he did some things a little differently for the Adelaide Rotary Club this year, and I thank him for that. I did the same thing when I was president of the Norman Rotary Club 30 years ago. I have to be candid with you that they didn't continue the things that I started. Maybe I was just a little bit too far out there, but we did things a little differently. We shook it up just a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. And I think that club is a better club today because we did some of those things. We've got a great opportunity as we move forward with our future vision plan. I think it gives us so much more flexibility, so much greater ability to use our Rotary Foundation as we move forward than the old foundation. And for all intents and purposes, we're in future vision now. We're actually going to roll it out on July 1st. You have so much more flexibility than you had, and I know that in this part of the world, you're very much like my own district. Our two favorite programs in the Rotary Foundation have been ambassadorial scholars and group study exchange teams. Well, I'm here to tell you there's a fire sale on group study exchange teams. You can fund them yourself for about half what it costs to do it through the Rotary Foundation with your DDF. You can have probably twice as many as you had in the past, and I hope that you continue to do that. But I also hope that you embrace the vocational training teams and really help us make a statement in the world for our foundation as we truly make a difference in these places in the world where we can actually do that. The strategic plan, I said in my acceptance remarks in Bangkok, there's really nothing new there. We finally written down in a logical format how we ought to all try to move forward. We need to strengthen our clubs, there's no question about that. That's not going to come as a mandate and a dictate from world headquarters. That's up to you. You're the leadership that's going to make that happen. And we need to make sure all of our clubs are strong. We need to make sure that they're growing, thriving, doing good in their communities. Talking about more humanitarian programs in our Rotary Foundation, we've already talked about the foundation, how critically important that is as we move forward. And then we talk about our public relations, and I think that to me is our family of Rotary. We need to start thinking a little bit more strategically. You know, it was 26 years ago this May when the Supreme Court decision in the United States came down that allowed us to invite the working half of the world's population to become Rotarians. think if we take an honest look at ourselves and we invite qualified people regardless of their sex, their religion, their ethnicity, their politics, all of those things that are totally irrelevant when it comes to Rotary work, we'll be a much better organization. I think it's time we took that step forward. We need to look at our clubs, make sure they're attractive. We need to look at starting new clubs. One of the things that's going to happen on January 1st, the number of club members it's going to take to charter a new club has been reduced from 25 to 20. Frank's coming up to throw me off the podium. Anyway, I'm an old past district governor, Frank, and as Frank Devlin says, we're like tennis shoes, old tennis shoes. Everything's worn out except the tongue. So I could go on and on, but it's been a real pleasure for me to be with you today. I look forward to working with you next year. I need your help. You're where it happens. The guys that are really going to work, as I told Chris and Frank, you guys have the tough jobs. You're president of a Rotary Club. That's serious business. And I want to wish you the best. I'm here for you. So, Frank, is it time for questions, or did I eat into my questions as well?
You can ask your own questions if you know the answer. We now have 10 minutes to ask the future president of Rotary International questions which challenge us all. But having listened to him, I think he has a formula that we could all use here. 45% of women in your club. How do you do that? Perhaps that is my first question.
We ask.
Do we have some roving mics to that? There's one here. Thanks. Okay, do we have any questions for... Yes?
Thank you. Cliff Document is now into video. Came to one of our opening Rotary conventions. Could you please give us a health report on Cliff?
I'd be delighted. We were with Cliff in California about 3 weeks ago, and he and Mary Elaine were there, and they were doing very, very well. And one of the things that we have done is Cliff will actually be a speaker at the International Assembly this year. This was probably the last time that he will address an International Assembly, but I thought it would be a great opportunity for my incoming class of governors to hear probably the premier speaker at Rotary International for many, many years. And Cliff graciously accepted that invitation. He's slowing down a lot. He's indicated to us that he is not traveling nearly as much as he did. His health in Maryland is, especially in Maryland, is a little bit suspect, but they were in good spirits, and we had a great time visiting with them at Lake Tahoe about 3 weeks ago. Thanks for asking.
Anyone who wants to ask a question, please stand up. Then it's easy to identify who wants to interact. So, sir, you have the...
I'm not sure whether I'm going to phrase this correctly, but if you look around this room and look at the colour of the faces, they're mostly white. We claim to be a multicultural society. Why aren't there more people of other societies in Rotary, particularly in Australia?
I'm not sure I'm the one to answer that, but I would agree with your sentiment. And I have to tell you a little bit of a story. In Norman, Oklahoma, up until probably the early 60s, it was known as the sundown town. And if you don't know what that means, it means that if you weren't white, you weren't allowed to be out when the sun went down. So you know what I'm talking about. Well, I have to tell you that we don't have a lot of, most of the people in Norman that are other than white Anglo-Saxons are affiliated with the university. They're very educated, very intelligent, very well-to-do people. And I brought in the first African-American to my Rotary Club. I brought in the second African-American to my Rotary Club. I missed the third one, but I brought in the fourth one. And I'm thinking a little bit outside of the box and rattling the cage a little bit. So as you look around, there's some really qualified people there, and they can't become Rotarians unless you ask them.
Ron, welcome to Adelaide. Now, as you're from Oklahoma and you're looking for maybe suggestions for the themes, could it be join Rotary now, better sooner than later?
Absolutely, and I have to tell you that we were home last week in Oklahoma in college football, which is a totally different football than Australian rules football, which we do enjoy, by the way. Played at Oklahoma State, and it went to overtime, and we never led the entire game. And in overtime, Oklahoma State scored a field goal and made the score 48-45. No one was playing defense. And then it was our turn with the football, and we scored a touchdown and beat them.
I think this will be our last question. Thank you.
President Roy, great to hear you talk. My name's Tim Clark. I'm actually the National Secretary of Shelterbox. In the last couple of years, Rotary has come up with strategic partnerships like the Aga Khan University Mercy Ships, and also in March this year, our first Rotary project partner, which is Shelterbox. With the new Visions project that comes in next year, do you envisage that we will get more of these Rotary project partners, and also is that going to impact on Shelterbox? Is that going to impact on the foundation and claims against that from these project partners?
Thank you for that question. I do think that we will get more strategic partners as we move forward. That's certainly the hope. You're probably aware that with our 6 areas of focus, we're trying to, and past chairman of the foundation trustees, Bill Boyd, who is here, can speak to this certainly more eloquently than I can. But we're looking at taking the Rotarian action groups and trying to interface those with our 6 areas of focus, which I think will give us a great, strong base of dedicated Rotarians in these areas of focus and bring expertise to that particular area, and will also help us attract strategic partners that will bring in not only expertise, but hopefully funding along with that. So I look at it, I'm not concerned particularly about it impacting our ability to attract funds. There are still many of us who believe in the annual programs fund and in the World Fund, and I know that Jen and I certainly do. We're members of the Paul Harris Society, and we continue to do that. But there's sometimes, certainly in the shelter box situation, that's the appropriate response that we want to provide. I think there's room for all. What we have to do in this whole process, in my opinion, we have to accept the fact that the Rotary Foundation is one of our charities of choice. And we know that when we give money to the Rotary Foundation, it's properly accounted for, it gets to the people who need it, and it truly does make a difference. And that's the thing that we have going for us that many other charities in the world don't. And the overhead, if there's any at all, is extremely minimal, and most of the money gets to the source where it can do the best and do the most good.
In
Thank you. Actually, this isn't a question. I just wanted to thank you for recognizing the women in Rotary, Ron. As a current president here of the Glenelg Rotary Club, I'm very proud, and I'm actually sitting here with two other current presidents of clubs in our area, ladies. And we are really proud to be Rotarians. We know where Rotary started, and we thank the gentleman for that, but we also thank you for welcoming us into Rotary. And we're very proud, and look out, because here we come.
Let me just respond by saying I don't see women Rotarians, I see Rotarians. I do not. I've had people come up to me at Bill's convention in Salt Lake City. A lady came up and poked me in the chest and said, "You need to put more women on the board." And I said, "Excuse me, ma'am, I don't put anyone on the board, you do." And I don't have to patronize women. I don't have to make excuses for women. They're very capable in their own right. So what I see are Rotarians.
Thank you, Ron. We are inspired by your words today, and we will take your example into our clubs. And as you say, the Rotary dynamic is in its clubs. But we are inspired by your experience as a foundation trustee and a president of the foundation, that the funds that we send to RI International will be harvested well, and they will be used for purposes, humanitarian purposes, that we will all rejoice in. So thank you for addressing us today, and good luck with your year as Rotary International President.
Good luck with you.
Could I ask you all to stand?